Well, welcome back to Allen's Day. This is part 4 of the upgrades to the John Deere 5100E. This is a new unit, and we are just going through here and doing a few things just to upgrade it to make it a little more usable for our particular application. And if you want to see some more of what we've been doing on this, check out the previous parts of the series. You'll see what we've got going on. But for today, we are just going to do a walk around of some of the small items that I'm going to take care of tonight, and I will show you what we got going here. So for starters, what I would like to take care of is this arm that's on here for the disconnect for the loader. You can see how much farther it sticks past the machine here. I don't like that for our application. That loader's probably never going to come off, and I will guarantee you for most people those loaders pretty much stay on these tractors, and that's just something bad that's going to happen. For our application, we use, if we've got to do some brush cutting, going out to get wood, that will get snagged on something, and that could get pretty expensive once if that gets ripped off and you start pulling hydraulic lines and everything else. So I know I said previously on this series that I wasn't going to start cutting or welding on the tractor. Well, I'm wrong, or I was wrong. What I'm going to do is I am going to cut this handle off right here, and that is going to get rid of this whole area here that is going to be a potential snag, if not walking around there to get snagged on something. And then in place of that, I am going to take and took a 3/4 inch socket. I'm going to sacrifice that for the greater good, and I am going to take and weld that right on there. And then for the slim chance this loader ever has to come off of here, literally you just take a breaker bar, put it in there, and then you can work this handle and lift this up for what you have to do on here to lift this up. One other area that's going to potential problem getting snagged on something are these hydraulic lines down here. These fittings are just hanging down low on the tractor, and sure enough, they could get snagged on there. So I'm just going to make a simple bolt-on guard that is going to come down around, over and up. And what that guard will do is hopefully keep things from getting snagged on there, or give it a better chance so that we don't snap a fitting off. It's just going to be out for a bad day. You snap a fitting out in the middle of the woods and you got hydraulic oil all over the place. And the guard that I'm going to put on there is going to be made so it's not going to be that heavy. So hopefully the guard itself is going to give or break first before it starts wrecking everything else on there. But at least we're going to make an attempt at it. And the next thing that concerns me is all these wires hanging here. That's just something for a limb or a branch to get snagged on and pull through. So I'll take and tidy those up a little bit as we go through here. So once I get these couple items done on here, I will bring you back, show you what I have, and we will continue walking around and doing some more tweaks. Well, we're back at it. I've got a guard put together. I'll show you what I did. This guard here just fits around these hoses. This back piece in here locks in behind on the plate, and those two bolts go through the back there with a washer on the back. So to put this on here, it's just you slide it on here, roll this around here, and get it so it locks around the back side, and put a couple of bolts in the holes. So what that's going to do for us is just help the ends of these lines here a little bit with this putting this guard on here. So, and then the next thing I was working on down here, I'll bring you back once I got that all put together. A couple other things that we talked about before is cleaning up these lines. I went through and added some split loom over the top of here and zip tied them up a little bit closer. A couple other things, once I was poking around down here, it just never ends. So got up here, Taz is here to help me. Got up in here, and this line, this electrical wire from here going all the way down to here was just hanging in there loose. And maybe not this year, next year, but like I said, we're trying to get 40 years out of the tractor. There's no way that that wire is going to hang there. And there's real fine little wires down on the back side here that have a potential to snap. So just put some more loom on there, and then just put a wire tie right there in the back to keep those wires from going up and down. A couple other things, I noticed that there was a couple lines rubbing on up here, so I took and put some spiral loom on there. And then what I did, there's this hydraulic lines right here that go all the way down for the third function. I took and I disconnected those lines that go all the way up to right there. I took and disconnected them and rerouted them. The way they had them routed before is they were down underneath below here. I rerouted them in between, and then I added some more spiral loom to hold these together, and I put some zip ties all the way along the pipe to secure things. If you've got hydraulic hoses or anything rubbing on one another, it's just a matter of time before you wear holes in it. And there was a real tight spot over here that I had to put a piece of hose over the top of the hydraulic hose so it wouldn't wear out the steel line. And what I do with those most of the time is I just simply take a 5/8 piece of hose, radiator hose, heater hose, and I take this right here. This is a Bostic 940 FS Marine, and I just put a good sized dollop right in the middle of that, and then I'll reach that up and I will just lock that in and put that right around whatever line I'm trying to protect on there. So, and I do those on quite a few spots. And there was another spot up on the loader here that right down in that area there was a real tight rub right here. So I got rid of that. So that's what I did on wiring just on this portion of the tractor. I still didn't work my way around to the back. That'll be another night. But the big thing that I was working on was this valve here. What this is separates the valve when you remove the loader. And here's the handle that was on there. And you can see that sticks out way past the tractor. So cut that off of there. And what I did is I welded on the socket onto here. And now we can take a breaker bar, lock it into here, and we can lift this up, push the button, and it lifts up, and you can put that on there. Now, this is what I want to talk to John Deere about. What they need to do on this item here is somebody needs to do a little redesigning of this whole area here. So, one thing what they can do is, and they're going to save themselves a little bit of money, and that is get rid of that welded handle that they have put on there. For one, it's expensive to be welding that on there. And here's what I came up with for them to do, and maybe somebody will take a look at it. If they just, instead of putting a welded part on there, which will free up a little bit of their shop time not having to weld it, and it's going to free up a little bit of shelf space because you got a smaller part. But the big thing is what you need to do on there is just take this part is a laser cut part, and just take and put a 1/2 inch square drive hole, a 3/8 hole, and then make this flat spot on these two sides down to 1 1/4 inches or 32 millimeters. That way they can take and eliminate the handle, and you've got several different options to turn that up in the case that you would have to change it out. One other area that they need to take a look at is this frickin' bracket they got here. Somebody's got that figured out though. Must be a reason for it, but I don't see it. They've got a piece of metric equivalent to a 1/2 inch plate here, which unnecessary. What you want to happen if something fails, this is what you want to fail here, is this bracket. You don't want the loader arms to tear off of there. That's just 1/4 inch plate down there, and you don't want to rip out the bolts out of the valve. So my suggestion to them is somebody needs to take a look at that, and they need to make that out of 3/8 plate. And if they're making it out of 3/8 plate, they need to suck that thing that way. They can probably go a good 1.5 inches and still get their pin out of there. I haven't got time to play around with it right now, but someday when I'm really need something to do, I'm just going to replace that bracket, make one out of 3/8 plate, and suck that thing in there and just get these controls in a little bit farther. But that's enough about me talking to John Deere here. Talking to you guys, just going to continue on making my way around. The next areas that I've got to look at on here is I got to work my way around to the back. And you can see we got more lines that just need a little bit of cleanup here. We've just got loose lines hanging down here. Got stuff here. I'm going to put some more loom on there, do a little bit better job zip tying it together. Not quite sure what this is for, but that's going to need a little help. And we got something hanging on that side that's going to need a little bit of help too. So that'll be tomorrow's night venture. I'll take care of that. And also this line, this is for the windshield washer fluid in there, and I don't think there's any reason it's got to be hanging there. I'm just going to take and cut that and tidy that up and get that up there a little bit closer, and just to clean things up on here. When you look at the tractor, some of this stuff, it just needs a little help. But if you go look at the motor and pop the hood on there, they have that absolutely perfect on that motor there. I mean, there isn't nothing moved. There's absolutely nothing I can do under the hood there. I'm impressed how they got that cleaned up, but they need a little bit of help on just some of the exterior stuff. Maybe they can put this in a service bulletin and clean some of that stuff up on these tractors. So, well, we'll talk to you later. Well, I'm back to show you what I did on the tractor here. The items that I wasn't quite happy with, and I tweaked them up a little bit, just cleaning all these wires up. So what I ended up doing is putting some spiral wrap on these cables here. They were just sort of hanging in the wind. Put some more spiral wrap on the 3 cables coming up from the back. Took the hose for the fluid, I cut about 1 foot off of there, and then I just put a 3M little tie stickum tab on there. I did the same thing where there's some extra loom that's hanging down. I'm assuming that's for some wires. And then I went through and I cleaned up and I took this all apart and put loom on there all the way down. It's just don't want to take any chances with wires. And then another area is, don't ask about the finger. That's a couple minutes ago I did something there. Put some more spiral wrap on these, wrap some lines up here. So I'm sort of happy with this now. Still not a big fan of this third function hose that's just sort of hanging here. I gotta think on that one a little bit, but I think it'll probably be good. Next item I gotta work on is got a trailer moving 3-point hitch system. I'll get that dropped into place on there. And then I've got a light bar and a pigtail. I'll get that wired up and show you. But the next item I got to work on, and I'll bring you back for that, is right up here there's supposed to be a slow moving vehicle sign. Well, I do have the sign. It came to me in 2 pieces. The screws or the nuts came off the back side of the sign already. And I don't know if that's a dealership deal or if that comes from John Deere like that, but I'll put that together and I'll give you a few suggestions on how that should be done so it doesn't happen again. And the delivery guy, when he dropped off the tractor, he felt bad that the sign was hanging there, and he said he was going to mail us some nuts and stuff. I sure do appreciate that, but no, I'll take care of it. So like I said, I don't think it's the dealer on this. I think this is a John Deere issue, so I'll show you what I did. I'll bring you back. Well, I'm back with the triangle slow moving vehicle sign. So what I did to upgrade this so that we can get more than a couple hours out of it, I put some stainless steel fender washers on there, and I put some zinc bolts in there. I didn't have stainless steel. On the back side, I put some Nylox nuts on there, so this is never going to come off. I did paint this bracket black so we can get a few more years of life out of it. So I've got some slow moving vehicle signs that are plastic ones that are 20 plus years old, and what happens is they crack out around the holes if you don't watch it. And then what I did on here, if you look right down in there, I put a big dollop of this Bostic marine sealant on here. And what that's going to do, it's going to keep the vibration out of here. I'm shooting for 40 years on this sign. The other thing that I did, when these brackets are set up, they just simply slide into this slot right here. And there's nothing that holds it in there except gravity and hope. That wasn't good enough for what I was doing here. So what I came up with is I took right at that bolt hole, I bent that bracket, just put it in the vise, gave it a tweak. Now what happens is when you put the sign in the bracket, it snaps into there with that little tab bent over like that. So that should be something that John Deere and that sign out, the people that make these triangles, they need a little advice on that so that this isn't flying down the road in somebody's windshield coming out of there. And then if you really want to add a little extra support in there, what you can do is just take a pair of pliers and just bend that. If this is going to stay in there for a long time, you just bend that up 1/8 of an inch, a little corner of that, and this sign isn't going to come out of there. But the way they're set up before, they're just made to fly out of there. So, little advice for John Deere and the triangle people, that see if you can tune that up just a little bit for me, please. But next item working on is I've got to put a got to put the light bar on here. That is set up with just a plug in here. So I've just got, this is off an old used one I got off a semi-trailer. It's the wires that go to the back. And so I just took and I cut the end off of this, and I'll put an adapter plug on here. I'll wire that in. I saw in the book that there's a wiring diagram to figure out what the pin out is on there. But this will be set up for the next venture that way, using the trailer mover here. I can stretch that back and I can put a set of lights on the back there. So that's about all I have on this tractor that I want to do back here. The next time you're going to see me, we're going to be in there and we're going to do the next part on the interior. And I've got to start from scratch on that. I've got USB plugs in there. I've got lights to put in there. I've got phone holders to put in there, toolbox holders, and just do some wires and some few little suggestions for John Deere and a few little cleanup items on there. But I know I do a lot of complaining about the things that I got to do on here, but they're just things that I feel like I need to do those. Bottom line, this is just an excellent tractor. Great tractor. Great implement dealer that sold us the tractor. But these are just things that through many years of experience find out that if I can prevent a problem, I'm going to. So that's enough talking for me. See you in the next part. Thank you.